I am 30 years old and have not experienced my first kiss. I have tried and failed romantically all my life, and the longer it goes, the worse it feels. People close to me say that everyone goes at their own pace, but I know I am an outlier. I want to learn about other people's experiences with their first kisses. Story 1. It was nice and it felt like I should have been doing it since I was 13. I met her on OkCupid before it got terrible. We went on a date, then watched American Pie on her bed. The kiss was when I finally realized that I was going to stop being a virgin that night. Story 2. Older teenage girls in the area wanted to practice kissing on me. My luck with the ladies faded as I got older, but you have to be really social for these things. Once you get older, you really have to force yourself to meet people. Learn not to care about looking stupid as long as you are respecting boundaries. Story 3. My first real kiss was not one I got from being chased on the playground. I was 21 and it was at the end of a date. I had no game, was socially awkward, and too young to know to never take a woman's advice on women. So, following a lady friend's advice, I asked her if I could kiss her. She said yes, and there we have it. No making out, just a semi-long held kiss. Story 4. 7th grade, my summer camp girlfriend. We were walking back to the bunks and reached the point in the path where it split between the boys and girls sections. She asked me to kiss her, and I went to give her a kiss on the cheek, but at the last second, she turned her head and pulled me into a full-on French kiss. Her hair smelled like strawberries. She and I are still friends many decades later. It will never stop being quietly funny to me that she married a guy with my same name. Story 5. The first time my tongue got involved was when I was 15 and on summer vacation. She was 15 as well, and our families were renting cottages next to each other. On the second evening after we met, we were sitting on a bench beside the lake. We talked for a while, nervously looked at each other, and kissed. By the end of the evening, we were kissing passionately. Story 6. It was all right. Beyond the nervousness that comes with the first time you interact like that, it was pretty ordinary. It was just a short kiss after all. As for what led up to it, we were just hanging out together. At some point, all our friends had left, so we were alone since I stayed around to help clean up the place. Insert some teenage awkwardness and you get the picture. Story 7. Technically, the first kiss was around age 5, but the first proper kiss was at 13 or 14. It was fine. Neither of us really knew what we were doing but figured it out. Story 8. At the school Valentine's dance, I just asked her if she wanted to kiss. She said yes, and next thing you know, we were kissing. It was kind of awkward, but still felt good. Story 9. I was very young, younger than 10 years old. I was hanging out with a girl a couple of years older than me during a family trip. We had just met at the place where we were camping. We went up a hill when it became dark, and she kissed me. After a moment, I pushed her away because I was scared my parents would find out and get angry, as they were very strict. I can't say I didn't like it, though. It's ironic how early it happened and that the girl initiated it, while now as an adult, I struggle to attract anyone. Story 10. I was about 7 years old and under the air hockey table at daycare. She said, "Let's do something I saw my parents do," and we crawled under the table. She climbed on top of me and kissed me fully on the mouth. Core memory. Story 11. Real kiss? 15. It was a lot of making out. We did not get any further than that, though. We dated for a short time, then I broke it off. Story 12. 17 years old. I was in the all-county band for both regular and jazz. I made friends with a girl from a different town. We hung out all weekend during breaks from practice. After the performance, she invited me over with some friends to watch Sin City. We made out throughout the entire movie. It was fun, messy, but fun. Story 13. I was 28. I know the feeling, but I am fortunate that my first kiss did not feel rushed or like something I did just to say I had kissed a woman I had romantic feelings for. I just feared she could tell it was my first kiss, never having told her. By the way, I amateurishly kissed her. She had previous partners before, so I knew she knew how to kiss. After 4 years in the relationship, she definitely does. I hope your time will come, brother, and that it will come naturally and smoothly. Happy smooching. Story 14. I am approaching 40. I am bad at relationships and therefore have not gotten far enough to date or kiss anyone. I wish I were lying. Story 15. 12th birthday. It was at my party. She talked about it with her friends the entire week leading up to the party. It was my gift. Still friends with her on social media, but she lives on another continent now. Story 16. I was 33. The lead up is that we met on Bumble and chatted for a few days. Then I asked her out. We went to an art hop, then to a bar with a band playing. She didn't want to stay there and strongly suggested going to my house, but I declined, and we went to a pool hall nearby, which I realized later was only about 60 seconds from my house. On the way there, she talked up her pool game, but I ended up doing much better, and she was very into it. At one point, she said, "I would let you be intimate with me right here and now on this pool table." We sat down on a couch next to the wall and talked for a bit. After some time, I took her back to her car, and we kissed there and then by my trunk as she took out something she had bought at the art hop. What was it like? Awkward and uncomfortable. I didn't enjoy it. I ended things with her after she got home, and soon after, I tried to start seeing a therapist to work through things. A couple of months later, I took up ballroom dancing to help me deal with my discomfort around close contact with women. I've been on a few more dates with other women but nowhere close to kissing, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I'll get there. But the future is unwritten. Story 17. I was 22 when I had my first kiss. It was not a grand romantic setup. It was unexpected and kind of awkward in the best way. We had been friends for a while, met through a mutual college group, and one night after a long walk and deep conversation, we ended up sitting quietly on a bench. She leaned in first and I just went with it. It was soft, a little shaky on my part, and my heart was pounding. I remember thinking, wow, so this is what everyone is always talking about. It was not perfect or movie-like, but it felt genuine. What led up to it was a slow build of trust, good conversations, shared laughs, and honestly, the right vibe at the right time. Story 18. She was walking up the stairs ahead of me, stopped, turned around, and then kissed me passionately, making my knees weak. Story 19. I was 13, and at a hangout, one of my older brother's friends said I had never been kissed. This super cute mixed-race girl decided to give me my first kiss. Story 20. Around 10 o'clock with my best friend's older sister. It was her idea. She asked, and I immediately said yes. We were on the school playground, so we hid under some kind of tunnel to kiss. I was in instant heaven, and it continued for days. A similar situation happened the next summer. This time I asked, but she said no. My first of many such disappointments. Story 21. I kind of grouped my bases. I was 15 but young for my grade. It was the summer going into junior year. The first time I kissed a girl was the same time I touched one intimately. It just happened at a big slumber party. Then I did the same thing about 3 weeks later and combined third base with having sex. That was with someone else. It was an eventful August. Story 22. I was in third grade. We were in the bushes at recess. Her name was Pamela. I will never forget. I think the lead-up was something like, I saw mother and father do this. And then she kissed me. Story 23. 17 years old, inside a church, it was a youth gathering. She and I were flirting with each other. I lay beside her while she was sitting. Then suddenly she bent down and kissed me. How did it feel? It felt inappropriate to do it in church, especially since others were there. But here's the catch. I had my first intimate experience in that same church. Story 24. Maybe 16. It was not a kiss so much as a peck on the cheek. A girl at a party I was at was trying to kiss somebody on a dare. She kept saying, "Dare me to kiss him." Someone did, and I ended up being the recipient. It was awkward but not unpleasant. I am 31 and I have not been kissed since, so take it with a grain of salt. I have had sex but was not kissed during. I acknowledge that I have had a strange sex life. Story 25. I was 7 and the dark-haired boy of the neighborhood. She was 6 and the cutest little blonde girl. First, she asked me to kiss her. Then she kissed me. After that, she showed me hers and asked to see mine. marking the beginning of many basic anatomy lessons. Story 26. It was a casual encounter. We met at a bar when I was 19. I thought he was attractive and invited him to hang out with a few of us afterwards, when we went back to one of my friend's places. I wasn't sure if he was interested in men, but I hoped he might be. We ended up alone together for a few minutes, and it just happened. Story 27. Underwater pool kiss at age 9. Started full-on spit swapping by 12 years old. Pretty much expert-level makeout artist by 15. Story 28. 17. Friend's basement. Another couple started making out in front of us, so she got on my lap and we played chicken with them. They were a real couple, so they won the game, but I got a respectable makeout session out of it. Story 29. I was 15, and he was an 18-year-old high school dropout drummer in a local band. We were lying on his bed when "I'll Stop the World and Melt With You" came on the radio. He kissed me, and yes, it was dreamy. Story 30. The first time I kissed someone was when I was 15, and the last time was when I was 17. Now, I am 23 and will turn 24 in the coming week, but I have not kissed anyone or been in a relationship for a long time. Story 31. I was 14, she was also 14, and let me tell you, she was a full-grown woman. I am being serious when I say she could have been a Playboy playmate when she turned 18. She was absolutely gorgeous. We made out for what felt like an eternity. She grabbed my hand and took me into her bedroom. She wanted to go all the way, but honestly, I chickened out and made an excuse that I had to leave. Story 32. I had a few kisses in grade school. My first kiss was with a girlfriend when I was 8 years old in the schoolyard. My first make-out experience was at 12. Story 33. 12 years old. It happened after lunch as soon as we went to computer class. I do not even remember how it led up to this. I was not even attracted to the girl. We sat next to each other and she leaned in. We kissed. Felt wet and weird. She wore sticky lip gloss. Story 34. I was 10 or 11 years old, I think. We were the same age. We were watching the movie Cars in the theater, and she pulled my face to hers and kissed me. It was a proper kiss, including tongue. Story 35. I was 14. I went to a party with a girl I liked. We ended up sneaking off and sitting under her deck, where we kissed. It was incredible. I still remember it 36 years later. I wanted more after that, but it quickly fell apart with her. Story 36. I don't remember my age, but I was pretty young. My first kiss was just because a girl asked. I don't understand it because I also believed in cooties at the time. Making out happened before the age of 12. It was definitely too much for me back then. Yes, this story does involve an older girl. Story 37. I was barely 18 years old when my cousin's drunk wife gave me a big, wet kiss during a New Year's party. It lasted about 3 to 5 seconds and I froze. I didn't know what to do since I was caught off guard. She probably has no idea it happened or even remembers it, but it did. I'm not sure if it counts or if it's something to be proud of. I certainly didn't ask for it or expect it. I'm not sure if anyone saw it. It was out in the open and could have caused family drama, especially in a Latino family. The only person who knows is my brother since I told him and asked what I should do. I think I was definitely too young to get involved in drama like that or be held responsible for something someone did while intoxicated. I guess my cousin might know because he doesn't like me since the last time I saw him. Apparently, he has been to rehab a few times in the last several years, so I assume his wife was not in a good place with him, hence the drinking. She was always kind and nice since I was a kid. She was the only one who would talk to me at parties, asking about my favorite subjects at school. She was always very sweet, which made the situation even more confusing, especially because she was always cute and beautiful. I had a little crush on her when I was a kid whenever she visited my aunt's house. Her being that drunk was very out of character since she came from a very conservative Mormon family. Now, she is practically unrecognizable. She has lost a lot of weight and looks about 10 years older than she actually is since the last time I saw her. I do not feel bad about it, nor do I feel responsible. If anything was wrong, it is solely on her. She is not a bad person if anyone wants to say that here. Anyway, that was technically my first kiss. Story 38. I was in middle school. She said she wanted to talk behind the bleachers. That's when she grabbed me and kissed me deeply. I really had no idea what was happening. Years later, I lost my virginity thinking a girl was coming over to actually watch a movie with me. Story 39. At age 10, we were playing kissing games, not spin the bottle, but something similar. Felt weird and awkward. Story 40. I was 12 years old, and it was not what I expected. She went in for a makeout session while I was expecting a regular kiss. So, my first kiss was actually making out. Story 41. We were exchange students, and it was thrilling to kiss her every morning when we met at the bus stop. Our first French kiss was at 18, and it was a bit embarrassing when she tried to teach me how to move my tongue. Story 42. When I was in 7th grade, about to enter 8th grade in 1 or 2 months, it was the annual function of my school. I was managing most of the arrangements since the school only went up to 8th grade back then. My classmate, who was the director's daughter, developed a crush on me. After the function ended late at night, the director and his daughter decided to stay at the school that night. At night, we went to the terrace where there was an incomplete staircase leading to the floor above. We sat there talking for a long time, the longest we ever had. She casually checked how to lock the terrace door, locked it, and I asked her to give me the key. Since I was managing things and staying in the hostel, I had keys to several rooms for a few days. There was a carpet-like covering where we sat, talking. Somehow, we lay down and started touching and kissing. I was inexperienced and unsure of what to do. While kissing, I was touching her, and she was touching me. I remember there was a not-so-pleasant smell. Then, I lightly pushed her down, placing my hands on her head, and suddenly she was lying there. For 2 to 3 days, the kissing continued. Sometimes it was random kissing after school hours on a bench. I was nearly caught by a teacher once. Then the holidays arrived, and suddenly we stopped talking. I also left school in the middle of 8th grade. She watched me as I was leaving the hostel with all my belongings during the school break, but we did not exchange a word. Story 43. I was 17, and she was the niece, 16 years old, of one of my teachers. This situation led to my being expelled from the school. Story 44. I was 15. Suddenly, a girl from my friend group kissed me with her tongue as I was leaving a party. We were not even flirting that night. She just kissed me. It still gives me chills. Story 45. At 15, I was disappointed. It was a random girl at a party, and we were together for over 30 minutes. I had imagined it to be much better in my head. Story 46. At 14, she was a friend of a girl who hung around me for some reason. I did not like either one. She did it just to tease me and see what I would do. Foolishly, I went back for a second attempt, which she swatted away while laughing. I do not like that memory, and it soured my attitude towards women from then on. Story 47. I was 22. It was nice, I suppose. Being in a relationship was nice. I actually missed the cuddling more. I have long since forgotten what a kiss or even sex really feels like. Story 48. I went to high school and this girl and I got close from day one. We always hung out after school, but we were both kind of awkward. I thought I had no chance because she was really beautiful, and I obviously had some issues with my self-image. One day, we sat next to each other at the park, talking as usual. After a minute of silence, she pointed to her side and said, "Oh, look." When I turned to look, she kissed me. It was so awkward, I didn't have the courage to do it myself. But it was amazing and turned into hours of making out. We were a teen couple for months afterward. Unfortunately, we were both quite insecure, which later undermined our relationship. It seems silly looking back now. Story 49. A 10-year-old with the girl next door. Kids somewhat curious and playing around. 13 years old at a school dance, and it felt like a proper kiss. Story 50. I was 13 years old and at summer camp. I talked to a girl who was kind of touchy, so I kissed her because, why not? I think she liked it. I didn't bother to ask her name. A lot of other things happened too. Because of that, I decided that I had some good idea of how to deal with girls and lost interest in pursuing them for a long time. Story 51. 17 at her house before a date. I was nervous, but it was nice. We went out for 3 weeks before we broke up. I haven't kissed anyone since, and it's nothing to do with her. I'm not sure which is worse. Not knowing what you're missing out on, or knowing that you are missing out. Story 52. My first kiss was in 6th grade. Nothing special. She liked me, but at that time I didn't really care about girls or anything. It was cool. We are still friends on Facebook. Story 53. I was 16 on our first date. We had dinner and saw a movie. Then we went to a park, sat on a bench, and it just happened. Looking back, she kind of engineered it, which was fine. Story 54. I remember it like it was yesterday. In fact, she and I are still friends to this day, and we reminisce about our young love sometimes. It was innocent but obviously meant a lot to me, as I still remember it. It led to a childhood-type relationship for a few years. Of course, her dad did not want her hanging out with me, and all I wanted to do was go to the mall with her and hold her hand. The first kiss that led to anything considered sexual was when I was 13, sometime later. Story 55. It was my classmate's ex-girlfriend. She was at a different school, and she liked me more than I thought. We met up and hung out for a bit. Then she asked me, "Have you ever kissed a girl before?" I told her, "No, I haven't." She also told her friend at the time, and her friend said, "He's 16 and he never kissed a girl? What the heck?" She asked me if I wanted a kiss. Me, the shy guy, nodded my head and said yes as innocently as possible. I guess she found that adorable. She told me to close my eyes. Then she kissed me. I was blushing so badly and asked for another kiss, which I got. We just chilled for a bit and then left the park. Being bullied and called ugly all the time, and being rejected so much, it was hell. I never thought I'd even get a girlfriend at that age. Well, technically we did go out for about 3 days. She gave me an ultimatum and I said no, but she wouldn't let up. Story 56. I was 6 years old, hanging out with my high school cousin and his friends, playing a game where one person closes their eyes and the rest take turns passing a lighter until the person says stop and then orders whoever has the lighter to do something. I was told to kiss. She was gentle. That's also when I started going to clubs. My drinking started with wine. I hated it, so that was my last wine. I also started smoking weed. Story 57. Off topic, but I looked at your post history. I hope you are doing slightly better. Try to remember, this really does not matter in the end. Yes, physical touch is important from a personal feel-good point of view, but the societal emphasis on it is not. You never posted a photo, so I have no idea what you look like. But here are a few ideas. Go to a department store like Macy's and ask for a stylist. They are there to help. Similarly, go to a mid to high-end barber or hairstylist and ask what they recommend. Hit the gym. Do it for yourself, not for others. Get off social media and live your life the way you want to, within the bounds of the law, of course. Do not worry about what others think. Go to at least 2 or 3 therapy sessions. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.